Today, I am pleased to present Transparency International's 2010 Corruption Perceptions Index, which for the 15th consecutive year now scores countries on perceived levels of corruption. The Corruption Perceptions Index, or CPI, scores 178 countries based on their perceived levels of public sector corruption on a scale from a highly corrupt 0 to a highly clean 10. The data we use to compile the index comes from surveys of country experts and business people, both inside and outside the countries. Nearly 3/4 of the countries on the index score less than 5, indicating a serious problem. With governments committing huge sums for the world's most pressing problems, including the stabilization of financial markets, climate change mitigation, and poverty reduction, corruption remains a serious obstacle and a cause for concern. Unstable governments with a history of conflict continue to dominate the bottom rungs of the CPI. Afghanistan and Myanmar share second to last place with scores of 1.4, while Somalia comes in last with a score of 1.1. The UN Millennium Summit brought all these issues into sharp focus, where the message was broadcast loud and clear. The Millennium Development Goals were in danger as long as fighting corruption was not made a central element of poverty reduction. These efforts to combat corruption need to be global as well as local. The United Nations Convention Against Corruption provides an excellent legal framework on all levels. However, many states of the G20 are implicated in the global cycle of corruption, despite being among the higher scorers on the CPI. Some companies continue to bribe abroad in order to win business, despite the practice being criminalized by the OECD Anti-Bribery Convention. Transparency International's 2010 report on implementation of the OECD Convention found progress to be very uneven. The vital issue remains enforcement, without which all the laws in the world will be of little value. Still, there are some positive examples in the index of countries with very clean public sectors. In the 2010 CPI, Denmark, New Zealand, and Singapore tie for the first place with a score of 9.3. But a number of higher income countries rattled by the financial crisis saw their scores decline. These results show again that corruption is a global problem that must be addressed globally. It's therefore commendable that the Group of 20, in pursuing financial reform, has made strong commitments to transparency and integrity ahead of their November summit in Seoul. But the process of reform itself needs to be accelerated. With the livelihoods of so many at stake, governments' commitments to anti-corruption, transparency, and accountability must speak through their actions. Corruption nourishes poverty. It seeds violence. It destabilizes countries. So good governance is a necessary part of the solution to all the global policy challenges governments face today. No country is immune from corruption. There should be nowhere to hide for the corrupt or their money. It is our hope that the Corruption Perceptions Index provides the motivation to tackle this global problem. Too many poor and vulnerable people continue to suffer from the consequences of corruption around the world. This cannot continue.